Looking for clarity and confidence when it comes to decision making for your business? You've come to the right place. You're now listening to the Atomic Business Coaching Podcast.
I am Adam.
And I'm Tom.
And together we are Atomic Business Coaching,
where our stories are your solutions.
What's up, Tommy?
Oh, what's going on, Adam?
Second podcast of the day.
Yes. It's been a busy
not
day.
Not ours. Yeah, not ours. We were on someone else's podcast, Young Man, the Way of Life podcast. He's 18 years old. Ask us some incredible questions. So whenever that comes out, I'll tell you all to look at that. And today's kind of a fun day, right, Tom?
Yes, it's been a fun day, and it's going to get even more fun because we have an amazing guest with us today.
Yes, we do. We have our good friend, Gena Bradshaw, with us. Tom and I got to know Gena about 2 years ago through Long Island Networkers. And it was, I don't even know how you came about. And Gena, when we introduced yourself, maybe you could tell us how you figured us out or found us, Long Island Networkers. But when I met you, it was instantly, you were one of those people that I felt could like see my thoughts and like right through me. And it was just very genuine and open and honest. And I felt comfortable around you. And it speaks a lot to the work that you're doing now with holistic human performance. And you know, your journey really spoke to me from your fitness background with, you know, you had a family business, which was awesome. And I got to meet your dad at one point. So it was cool to see the generational growth of the company and then how you have really taken that to a whole nother level. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing these days?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is awesome. I'm so glad to be with you too. I'm trying to remember how I came across Long Island Networkers. I believe it was through Alicia and Sarah who told me about you guys. And obviously I love to network. I love to connect with other people, especially, you know, entrepreneurs, small businesses, communities. So I was like, let's go check it out. And yes, we totally hit it off. And honestly, I loved how you created Long Island Networkers and the atmosphere and community that you had. I was like, this is a cool networking group. And it was cool. Yes, you got to meet my dad. That was awesome. We loved it. Yeah, I mean, it's been a ride. It's been a ride. So I started off obviously in the fitness industry. I'm still a part of my family fitness business, Bradshaw Personal Fitness. However, there was always this, and by the way, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor for anybody that doesn't know that. So that's pretty much how my journey began into the health, fitness, and wellness industry. And
well, I have your book right here. Anyone who's watching, see the survivor story, and there's Gena. See that? But yeah, this book, you know, I bought this book and it really took me back from meeting you and someone to go through something so extremely difficult and the amazingly positive attitude you have. You know, some people take one direction with it and other people take your direction with it, which is, you know, you turn a negative into a positive. And that was what I meant, kind of like your genuineness when I was with you and just your optimism for life and every moment that you were in was so incredible. And that was 2 years ago when I met you and you still have it today. So obviously it's carried you along this journey. So thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I feel like literally since the last time we spoke, I've died 10 times and came back to life. Literally like just shed so many layers and grew. And I'm sure you guys can resonate with this when you start off in business, right? Especially if you're a part of like your family business. There was this, before I wrote my book, there was this underlying feeling of like, there's more. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not really sure what direction that's going to go into, but I'm going to roll with it. I'm an open-minded person. I'm very optimistic and I love to engage with other people. And so it came to a point where I was like, okay, my journey is going to excel from here. I need to share my story of being a cancer survivor, but not only that, a thriver, right? Because I had to work through the really big trauma of going through that at a really young age and witnessing other people going through it and, you know, how that can negatively impact their lives. So with that, I said, I'm going to write a book. I have no literary experience besides the fact that I remember growing up, my English teachers would tell me I'm a good writer. So I said, okay, I can do this. And I know both of you are authors, so you understand the process of you have to get into your creative genius. And then also like these emotions come up when you're writing or memories, and you're like, oh, damn, I haven't thought of that in a really long time, or I didn't even realize I felt that way. So it was I wrote it originally for my own healing journey, obviously with other people in mind, but I was like, I need to get this out. And being able to share my story with other people, I didn't even realize the impact that it was going to create, which is really cool. It was a ripple effect immediately once I like put the work out there. And then from there, I'm like, okay, there's more. And I developed holistic human performance out of this. It's a health and wellness curriculum where I'm teaching people holism. What is holism? It's the interconnection between mind, body, and soul. And obviously, fitness and nutrition are the baseline. We know this. We got to take care of the physical body, but there are other ways that there are other buckets per se that need to be viewed and looked at. And so I said, okay. And that's how I created the foundation for holistic human performance. And from there, I kind of just really, again, it's the people that I have in mind. I'm like, this is going to help other people on a preventative level. So maybe you don't need to go to the doctors. Maybe you're instead of going, more in the Western direction, Western medicine, you're like, oh, I didn't learn about Eastern medicine. I didn't even know that was an option. So it's really creating these options for other people to really just know that they can tap into their inner healing, and you can heal your body. It is absolutely possible. It's a matter of, do you believe that? Do you trust your body? And do you believe that? And I'm the middleman, I'm like, okay, you want to look for somebody who does acupuncture? I got someone. I got a couple of people. You want an integrative oncologist? Okay, cool. I got someone. So, it's kind of developed in that sense. And really right now I'm focused on the health and wellness, and I love it. It's a lot of fun.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome. Gena, you're reminding me. We say a lot at Long Island Network is, I got a guy. I got someone for you. I got someone for you. I got a guy. Hey, you need a guy? I got a guy. No problem. But I love that. I love that the way that you brought that up. And it's awesome when you are a middleman, right? You have the guy or the girl for that person to help connect them to the next part of their journey. And that's what it's all about. One of the things that just struck me as you were talking was, we talk about in business, taking a lot of our clients out of survival mode and getting them into the thriving mode of what they're doing in their life. At what point in your journey or in your cancer did you recognize that this was an opportunity to not just survive, but to really thrive in life? What was that thing that sparked for you or triggered you into that direction?
I'll tell you the exact moment. It was 2020 when all hell broke loose and we were going through the pandemic, and I had my annual oncologist checkup. So I went there, normal, ultrasound, and I could tell during the ultrasound that they had found something. And at that point, it had been maybe 7 years, 8 years of being, in remission, cancer-free. And I left there in absolute tears. I broke down in the car. I actually had a mental breakdown. I remember calling my best friend, calling my mom. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so usually, right, you go to an ultrasound and the technician is not allowed to tell you what's going on. But, she saw that I was completely distressed, and she was like, listen, it's probably benign. We just have to do further testing. You have to get a biopsy. So that was honestly, I think, my breakthrough moment where I realized oh, I didn't do the healing work from when I was literally 3.5 years old and went through leukemia. The body keeps the score. The body remembers. So as a child, and, not to say I didn't have any anxiety or anything like that. Kids are very resilient, and resiliency is actually what gets people through a lot of situations. It's challenge and adversity, but that is the moment that was the turning point for me, because in that moment, that is when I decided that I was going to write the book. That's when I was going to write a survivor story. It was just implanted in my mind, and it was kind of this soothing feeling like everything's going to be okay. And I kind of took a deep dive. That's when I took a really deep dive into the human energy system, Eastern medicine, and spirituality. I've always been spiritual, but this is a different type of spirituality. This was like, there's a higher power. God's got me. I have a spiritual team surrounding me, and I just have to trust that all's going to be well. Because also what I realized, when someone goes through adversity and a really challenging time, again, it either makes you or it breaks you. And I realized also in that moment, like, oh, this is part of, we call it dharma, so your life's mission. And I'm like, oh, this is part of my dharma. This is why I'm here. And I really leaned into that, and it completely changed the trajectory of what I'm doing with everything. And again, I mean, it was life-changing, absolutely life-changing.
It's incredible. My life's mission that I realized, this was about 2016, the year after my second child was born, is I realized that it has to be around health, wealth, happiness. And it was really me identifying with those things. And I read a great book called The Atomic Habits, which has no correlation to atomic business coaching, just the life happenstance. Great book, right? And they talk about your identity, your process, and your outcome. And I decided that I'm going to identify with being healthy, wealthy, and happy. And the only way to do that is have a process of what does a healthy, wealthy, and a happy person do? And if you identify that and follow the process, the outcome is you'll be healthy, wealthy, and happy. Pretty simple, right? Well, when Tom and I were building this business, we came to a decision to create something called the 9 principles to be an atomic business. And one of those principles is called vitality. And we feel that without vitality, you cannot be a successful business owner, and you definitely won't be a successful human. And that's really why we wanted to have you come on here as an expert in this, is to really speak to our audience as business owners, really speak to them to the importance of taking care of your mind and body, and how that overflows into your business, into your personal life, into your family, into your leisure time. So it's unique that you're both a business owner and you are an expert in both the mind and the body. So maybe you could talk a little bit to the importance of that to business owners.
Absolutely. Well, being an entrepreneur, it's a spiritual game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is because really at the end of the day, you're solving a problem that you maybe had or you noticed other people had, and you're helping them. Now, spirituality, again, is innate within all of us. This is not to confuse with religion. This is literally just something that's implanted. It's soul. It's soul within us. And so that leads the way, right? When you're very in tune with your mind, your body, and your soul, you'll notice shifts happening in your life, and you will be projected onto a path that you probably didn't even think that you were going to be on. I mean, 5 years ago, I did not think I was going to be an author. I did not think I was going to have my own business. I did not think I was going to be featured on News Channel 12. I didn't think any of these things. So referring back to actually Atomic Habits, it's also a process of whatever you're thinking in your mind, that is going to create a chemical concoction in the body, which is a feeling. That feeling creates that physical response in the body. Maybe it's butterflies, maybe it's back pain, maybe it's, a headache, whatever it may be. If you are not aware of your own mind, body, and your energy, it's going to play a huge role in your business, how you show up in relationships, how you show up to the world, really. So, and also I'll say this, when I started Holistic Human Performance, which is a little over a year now, and I know that it's going to turn, it's going to up level and keep up leveling. I didn't even have the ideas that I do today a year ago. So you have to kind of like go through the process and these ebbs and these flows, and you kind of just got to roll with it, but also be strategic where you're not burning yourself out, because burnout is really what causes a huge problem. And Adam, you posted something on Instagram where it was you had the water and then you put the dirt in the water and it was like, here's your business. You started it out. It's nice and crystal clear. And then we got the stress, dirt. And then we have the anger, dirt. And then we have all the added stuff. However, just because that was added into the mix doesn't mean that you can't correct it. Doesn't mean you can't move forward. Doesn't mean you can't clear it out. So I always like to tell entrepreneurs, especially who are just starting out, you know, and maybe it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult journey because it's testing you on so many levels. It's testing your resiliency. It's testing your strength. It's testing your durability. It's testing how you honestly take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself while you were in business really, it's any day, you know, it's going to show in your business and your clients are going to be able to tell, like other people will be able to tell. Not to say that we don't have our bad days, like that's cool, but it's like, how do you pick yourself back up? And it's all about this journey. So yeah, I mean, I think if any young entrepreneur, anyone who's just starting out is feeling frustrated or they're feeling like they're not, I hear this a lot, like worthiness, they're not worthy of like having their business. Know that that is just your body telling you, hey, we got to work on this. This is something that has gone on from most likely childhood because really everything stems from childhood. And these are just these are emotions that your body has been holding on to and it wants to let it go. And when you let it go, you make space for new.
Absolutely. 100%. I love so many things that you said in there, Gena. One, I just loved how you said being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey. It's about spirituality. You know, I always think about when I got the opportunity to see Deepak Chopra at a conference out in Las Vegas a couple of years ago.
That's so cool. I quoted in my book. He's so amazing. He's
amazing, but he got on the stage and he defined spirituality so simply. It's self-awareness. It is your spiritual journey is your awareness. It's awareness of your mind, your body, and your soul, and how all those things are interacting and what's happening for you in those moments that are giving you the clarity about yourself so that you can move through life in a very successful way. And you're 100% right. Being an entrepreneur is such a spiritual journey because it requires so much trust and faith in the universe, in the process, in allowing things to happen. And you also said, you know, when you start to open yourself up to all of those things, everything else seems to fall in place. And that's one of the biggest things that we see as what people struggle with and why they're stuck and why they need us to help them navigate to the next stage of their life is because they've become so resistant and cut off to the things that are right in front of them. You know, there's no lie about everything that you need is either within you or right in front of you. And most of the time, you've just put up all of these boxes around it and wrapped it up and tied it up and tossed it deep within yourself. And when you are spiritually awakened and you start to see everything happens and it falls into place, it's amazing. And that's the vitality that we're talking about because that energizes you. It's a spiritual energy. It's that energetic connection. I talk about this all the time with our clients about how being energetically connected as coaches and client is so critical to our process and so critical to your success. Because when you're closed off to that energetic connection, you can't do anything. It doesn't work. And I just love everything that you said there. You know, one of the things, what do you tell people who you work with when, you know, in your practice that are really struggling to open up? What is the key ingredient that you encourage people to either bite off and chew or put into their formula to make things happen for them? What is that thing?
Yeah, so I think the people that naturally are, I call them my soulmate clients, right, that are attracted to working with me are people who are legitimately fed up, don't know where to go, don't know who to turn to, have no clue where to even begin when it comes to researching about different modalities. And that's where they come to me. And, you know, I will ask them, once they tell me all the things that are going on, I will ask one simple question. do you trust your body? Do you trust your body? And if the answer is no, or if there's any hesitation, I know that's exactly where I need to start. Because if you don't trust yourself, then how are other people going to trust you? How are you going to, again, move forward in life? Because then there's this stagnancy, right? And, again, this plays a role with life force energy or vitality. It's this force that runs through you to your core. And it's almost like this like electricity that just gets you going. And when you've cut that off and you've lost touch with that, that's when challenges and adversity start to pop up more frequently. You feel the resistance of everything. Everything feels hard when that happens. And when, I ask that question, it gets the client pondering and they're like, oh. And then that's where things start to open up and they're like, oh yeah, I remember this time when I was 7, or, oh yeah, I remember this time 2 years ago. And, it kind of depends on the client I'm working with, because I do work with, cancer patients and those who are like survivors. And I'll ask them, did you have a traumatic experience maybe 2 years prior to the onset of your diagnosis? What happened there? And they'll be like, oh yeah, like I actually went through a divorce at that time, or something along those lines. And something always will come up on an emotional level. And honestly, the number one toxin to the body is emotional toxicity. The number one toxin. And again, it plays in, it leaks into every aspect of your life, every single foundation, every single aspect. And once you begin to clear that up and work through that, because it's not going to happen overnight, right? It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a process. But once you can kind of allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself, allow yourself to feel those feelings and work through the stuff, you'll start to notice you'll feel lighter, you'll feel better, you'll have more energy, your headaches might go away. Who knows, your allergies might go away. It's very potent stuff. But again, like the work that I do, I can't force it onto people. It's more of like this attraction to what I do. And that's kind of, but the number one question that I ask is, do you trust your body? And that's usually where it opens up this can of worms.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful first question. And when someone is entering into a journey, whether it's with you, with us, or you're going to a psychiatrist, or you're going to learn how to play a new sport, or whatever it is, right? It's how do you initiate and how do you start that? So to begin with the question of, do you trust your body? I've personally never thought about that. And as you were speaking a little bit, I was like, got a little distracted. I started thinking of it on my own. I'm like, wow, that's really, it's a good thing to reflect on and look at. And I think that's a lot of the work that all of us do as advisors, because we basically are the same. We have the same journey. We're advising people, right? And we're listening to them. And then we're observing that, reporting back what we found, and finding strategies and solutions on how to move forward. But a lot of what we do, and that question helps, is to reflect, right? And see like, okay, what is happening there? And then to become aware, as you've spoken before. And what I always say is then form an acceptance, but then be very proactive about what you do with that acceptance going forward. And it seems like you bring people through a very similar journey. And the last thing I would say on this is that you said it doesn't happen overnight, right? And I call what we do, this is our practice. And I think Tom's referred to that for you as well, your practice. And this is not something that has an end. This is a lifelong journey. It is something that you practice forever and you will never perfect. My mentor, who was the youngest Hall of Fame member for MetLife, for my financial planning firm, he was the youngest member of the Hall of Fame for MetLife. And he was in his 40s, which is crazy. He had a sign on his desk that said, I have not arrived. And what he meant by that is this doesn't end. I haven't made it there yet. And when this is all over, that's when it ends. And hopefully when it's over, you get very lucky and you get to pass through to another place, wherever you are listening or watching may think that is. But that's the thing, is everything that Tom and I do in our business coaching, and it sounds like everything that you do in your practice is a practice. It is a journey. It is constantly evolving, improving, and working on that, and sometimes taking setbacks and working through that as well. So what I would ask you is, on this journey that you're taking, what are the next steps? What are you doing to reach more people? And let us know a little bit about what's going on with your business.
For sure. So, lots of things. I'm done with book number 2, so that's really cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In the process of, getting that published and going through that whole thing. But really what I do talk about is this foundation. I call it the sacred connection method of 5 different buckets: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetics. And with that, that's how I develop my teachings. That's how I develop my health and wellness curriculum. That is how I lead workshops. It obviously depends on the theme and the season of the year, but really definitely up level in the business. I was recently just featured on News Channel 12, which was really awesome. And it's actually interesting because I was like super, super nervous before I went on. I'm pretty good with like public speaking, but I was like, oh, this is like camera. This is a real deal. This is a lot of people. And so I actually had to work through this like being seen kind of thing where I'm like, Gena, like you put in the work, like you're helping people. You're worthy to do this stuff and show people what it's about. And it's kind of also like my work isn't for everyone, but I know my people, my soulmate clients are out there, which is really cool. So I'm doing more speaking events and I do a lot of classes. So I kind of have like 2 different avenues, I guess you could say, with my business hybrid model, where I have the online health and wellness curriculum. So I have courses, I have pre-recorded classes on there filled with meditations and exercises, nutrition seminars. And then on the other side of it, I have, and obviously the book too. And then on the other side of it, I have the workshops and speaking events, book signings, and, podcasts and things like that, which is really fun. Recently, and you guys will also be on soon, which will be a lot of fun. So started podcasting again, which it's been a minute. I think I'm on episode like 21. So that's a lot of fun. I missed podcasting a lot. So I'm glad I got back into it. But yeah, I'm kind of just rolling with it and just allowing the process to just unfold naturally. I've gotten to a point where I'm not forcing anything. I work hard, obviously, but I'm not overdoing it. I don't want to get to a point of burnout. I love what I do. I enjoy working with other people. And I want to keep it that way.
Nice. All right. So I have 2 questions and then we'll wrap it up. So first is, where can everybody find you if they're interested in reaching out to you, attending your seminars, joining one of your classes, or subscribing to your different courses?
Yep. You can find literally everything on holistichumanperformance.co. My YouTube's on there. Everything's on their book. And then my Instagram is at Gena Bradshaw. GenaBshaw. And then the business is at Holistic HP.
Great. And we'll put all that information in the show notes. So if you're driving right now, don't rush to write it down. It'll be there. You can come back, click the link, and be directed right to that. So again, I want to thank you very much for being here. And I have one final question is, we have a growing audience, which is really entrepreneurial, very well connected. We've made some great relationships. And I'm curious, if you could look 2 years out from now and you could see your business and exactly what you want it to be, what is something or someone that would help you get there? And maybe our audience can help you achieve that as well.
Ooh, that's a really tough question. Well, my ultimate goal is a wellness center where I have the components of mind, body, and soul all in one space, and being able to cater to those who really want to take a holistic approach to their health and, wellness. Currently looking for a literary agent. If anyone has one, send them my way.
We always need those literary agents, don't we? We need them because we got to get our words out there, right?
Yes.
So You mean brick and mortar, actual
Brick and
center
mortar.
that people can go to. Okay, and I know when I saw Tom smirk, because we'll talk after the show, Tom, but we may already know somebody that can help you with that. But not us, someone we know. But if anybody's listening, and by the time you hear this, we haven't achieved it already, if there's a way that you can guide or advise or connect Gena to getting that goal done, this is what we're all about. And for anyone else who doesn't know, Long Island Networkers took a break from August of last year. August is coming up this year, and we are relaunching Long Island Networkers underneath the Atomic Business Coaching brand. So it will still be Long Island Networkers. We're going to keep it that way. So if you're in Manhattan, sorry, you can't come. But we will have some options for online networking as well that will expand nationwide. So this is some pretty cool things that are coming. But if you know somebody that can truly help Gena out, she helps so many people. We'd like to pass that along. You know, our origin story, the three of us, is from the same networking group. So that's what we're here to do. Let's help each other out. She's helping so many people. Tom and I believe we have made a huge impact. So if any of you listening can help her do that, and please don't spam her. Don't reach out with nonsense. If you can genuinely help out, because she will look through your soul and know it right away. I'm telling you. So let's try to help and make that happen. And if not, check out our website, because what she's doing is very unique. You probably have not seen it integrated the way she has done it. And she has a great fitness background as well. So all these, we're talking a lot about spiritual and emotional and thought process, but she has a great physical fitness background too. And blending those two together, I believe, is paramount to becoming a success in anything that you're doing. So Gena, I'm going to leave it to you. Any closing words, and then we'll wrap up.
I would just say, never give up. Don't give up. You're 3 feet from gold. Keep it going.
Love it.
That's awesome. I love that. Gena, thank you for being here. And my big takeaway is the soulmate client. I love that you said that. I love the way you put that, because you know what? It really is about that. It's about the connections that we have with people, because that's the people we can help the most. So I appreciate your journey. I appreciate your story. We appreciate you being here and being a tremendous energy. And I really hope that everyone watching this, everyone that's been able to hear you, can hear the energy of a real spiritually centered and soul specific person, and really take something away from this that makes you feel really good, because we appreciate how this experience has been for us. So thank you for that.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you next.
Bye.